there's really one place to start. It's in Manchester for the Man City Tottenham game on Saturday evening in the Premier League. One incredible spectacle, really. Maybe a turning point in the season for the title race, of course, but also for the race for fourth place. And we have to start there, giving, I guess, a big congratulations to the winners, to Tottenham Hotspur and Antonio Conte for pretty much a masterclass, would you say, tactically and the way they approached the game and they delivered it?
Well, when I saw the lineups and I saw how they were going to start the game, and it was a back five almost and four in midfield with Harry Kane up front by himself, I'm not sure how Spurs are going to get out here, because he was asking Kulusevski to come back and double up with his fullback or his wing back. He was asking Son to do exactly the same on the other side of the field. And I just assumed that Manchester City would dominate possession, eventually create chance after chance, and would win the game comfortably. And having seen Spurs defend over the last couple of games, I thought that they wouldn't defend well as a back three. Dyer coming back into the side made them slightly stronger. But it was the way they counter-attacked that really surprised me. I thought they were brilliant on the counter-attack, and they didn't have that many chances to counter-attack, but every time they did, they almost created a chance out of it. So yes, Antonio Conte got his tactics spot on. Yeah,
the game plan. I guess when you scored that early as well with the Kane goal for Son and Kulusevski, because then your game plan, you put even more pressure on the opposition that have to even try to force something to happen more, and you're far more comfortable maybe. There was a lot of pressure on Harry Kane, of course, because it was the first time he was playing City since the summer, and the transfer that never happened, that looked like it could happen, but in the end maybe looked like it could never happen. And now all this week we're talking about, could he still go? What would have happened if he'd gone? All of that. For him to put on a performance like this, even if maybe City were a bit naive in the way that they defended on him, because we all knew he was going to drop a lot. And every time he dropped, as you mentioned, there was still a lot of freedom for him to do so.
Yeah.
But yet, for him to put on a performance like this is pretty incredible.
But he did everything right. Even when balls were being played from back to front. You know, I've seen him over the last few weeks, and he's been out-jumped, he's been out-muscled at times, he looked half-paced on certain occasions. Against Man City, he won balls in the air, he was chesting balls down, he was holding off challenges, he looked quick. You know, he was finding the right pass. He looked like a world beater in that game against Man City. And it just shows you what confidence can do, because he played with great confidence. When he isn't playing with great confidence, because the crowd might be having a bit of a go at him, there's speculation about his move to Manchester City, he looked half-paced. Against Man City on Saturday, I thought he was absolutely magnificent, as were Kulusevski and Son, who had to make the runs beyond him at times. And Son's pass for the first goal showed great vision, didn't it?
Yeah, really great vision. I mean, that reverse pass from Kane to start it was fantastic. There's the goal that he scored that was disallowed for the slight offside for Kulusevski, which was the right call, but it could have been an even better afternoon for
when he got through.
Kane.
When he showed good pace again, when he took that touch, and the goalkeeper Ederson made a great save with his foot. So every time they went forward, every time Kane got on the ball, he looked as though he was going to cause a problem for City.
We will talk a bit about the City defensive weaknesses, let's put it that way, in the podcast bit, so make sure you download the podcast. But obviously that win, maybe unexpected, considering, as we were saying, that Spurs had lost the last 3 games in the Premier League, that it looked like it could be fourth, which had never happened in Conte's experience as a manager. That obviously means that Liverpool winning against Norwich means that they're back 6 points behind City with a game in hand that will play against Leeds in midweek this week, so potentially 3 points. The title race is wide open, or you still think that 3 points lead cushion for City is still big enough?
It just puts a doubt in Pep Guardiola and Man City's mind, because Liverpool don't look as though they're going to lose games at the moment. I know they were 1-0 down against Norwich, but they were always going to get back into the game when you look at the game and the chances. And it just puts a doubt in Man City's mind, because they were coasting. You know, he was able to rotate his team and not worry about too much about sometimes the side he picks, because the players that were coming in were always going to win the games in the Premier League. But that is a major blow for Pep Guardiola. You know, they had that brilliant result in midweek in the Champions League, and suddenly against a Spurs side that had lost, as you mentioned, could have lost 3 on the trot. I didn't think they played particularly well in the Brighton game in the FA Cup. They lost against Wolves, they lost against Southampton, and defended really poorly. I thought this was going to be a tanking for Spurs, and Man City were going to run away with it. But it certainly does put a different angle on the title race.
City hadn't lost since October. I think it was something like that in the league. I think it was 15 games. And at times, I was at the stadium, it felt like, okay, they're going to score now. And they went back to 1-1 and then went back to 2-2 with Amare's goal. And then you think, okay, you must be happy with the point because you almost took nothing. Now you're a point. And then it's almost, Stu, that they switched off completely. Yeah. Or maybe they were a bit naive again. We go back to naivety, trying to think that they could score the third one. There was, I think, 3 or 4 minutes left to go, and then get caught for the Spurs third goal.
I mean, everybody, when you're watching the game and they get the penalty, Mahrez scores it. You expect Manchester City to get the ball back, Spurs to defend deep and hang on for a draw.
Yeah.
But Spurs in the game show that they can counter-attack at will almost when they did get good possession. And Man City, throughout the game, I don't think defended very well, whether it be on the counter-attack or defending balls into their box. The recovery runs from their midfield players weren't good enough. The decision-making of the 2 centre-halves at times was poor. And if you look at that first goal, when they were, it wasn't, Spurs didn't win the ball back. That came from the goalkeeper rolling the ball out. Exactly. And they switched the play out to one side of the field. They played it into Harry Kane, and suddenly Diaz is 1v1 against Son and tries to play him offside and gets square. So that's poor defending, poor decision making. And why was he left 1v1 in such a big area? Where was the other centre half?
Yeah.
Laporte should have been round on the cover so that if one centre half gets beaten, the next one doesn't. So there was lots of things wrong with Man City's defending over the game.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.